Thanks for coming back on, man. First one in the new house.
Yeah.
So tell me about the office that we're in. It's kind of some new decorations here.
This is a collection of stuff that I've killed, that I've collected that has to do with killing stuff. So this is 15 years or 20 years of killing stuff. And before I had money, I would, just collect stuff from people I knew and people I met. It all kind of, not just this stuff behind me, but stuff on the other walls in here. Which maybe Ben can bring his camera out and show you guys some of this stuff. It's just a collection of dead stuff, which I really enjoy being around.
Talk about what's behind me as well.
Oh, this map. This map's an interesting story. I was working in Charleston as a handyman. Funny enough, things have come full circle now, but I was working in Charleston as a handyman, and this really sweet lady kept hiring me, had this in her house, and I traded some work for it because I was in love with it. And I've kind of done that with half the art pieces in my house. But, yeah, that's from Charleston. And then pictures of us boys, my two brothers and I, hunting and fishing as kids. And I collect my duck stamps and just the two biggest deer I've ever killed are right there. And then a weird one that I killed and just a bunch of crap. And then some pheasant tails that I killed in South Dakota on my cousin's ranch. And yeah.
Have you ever heard about how all maps are wrong?
Oh, I'm sure they're 100% wrong.
So, like, for example,
like out of scale as well.
Right. Mostly out of scale. But like this one's actually pretty true to size, I think. Because like on most maps, Greenland is like real tiny.
Or like America's huge.
Right, exactly. Yeah. But the reason for it is because if you take a sphere and you try and lay it out on a flat surface, the curvature of the earth, you can't account for it. Yeah. So, there's little imperfection. There's certain ways to get it close, but you can never get it quite perfect unless you get it in a sphere. But you can't put it in like a rectangle. If you like manipulate and mess with the shape of the map and you make it like a U.
I feel like ChatGPT could do that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, like in like 5 seconds.
Well, but the point is like it's kind of the same thing as like if you divide by 0.5, right?
Right.
It eventually, like it will technically never disappear, right? Whatever number, like if we take that door and we cut it in half infinite times, technically it will never disappear. The same way with the map, like you can get it like almost perfect, but it will never technically be perfect because you can't take it. It's just geometry.
Yeah, who cares?
Right, but it's just fun.
Yeah, like, it's just, no, I'm not saying who doesn't care about your point. What I'm saying, like, who's looking for a perfect map anyway?
Yeah, I mean, I think where it gets really interesting is when people take that fact and then, like, people that actually make maps will, like you said, make, like, the United States bigger if it's a U.S. map.
That's the weird one.
It's like, or like, I assume the maps in North Korea have like
that's exactly what I was about to say.
Ass North Korea countries on their maps.
Kim Jong-un flying over it in his, in his private jet and saying that he made it and whatever.
Yeah, he made every map.
Yeah,
ever.
he made every map. Russia's giant too, man. Russia is huge, gigantic. And you know what? We're getting a lot of Russians and Ukrainians in Anderson specifically.
They're beautiful.
Sure.
Beautiful
the women
people.
are.
Yeah. The men are very ugly.
The men are very ugly. But I'll tell you what, man, they work harder than a Mexican wish he could.
Really?
No, and it's because I don't think their wives demand that they be home. I think that's it. I think they have a different culture. I don't think their wives are like, you need to get home for dinner. I just think they work until they're done.
Yeah. Until the job is finished.
In my experience, like Russians and Ukrainians work harder than any other group that I've come in contact with. Now, their work is, for the most part, garbage. Like, they're not very skilled laborers, but they get a lot done. Now, there's a place for that, right? So it doesn't have to be necessarily that they're the most skilled labor, but they work very hard. As far in like, there's a difference between skilled work, like finish work, and then let's say rough carpentry framing and stuff like that. So they're really good framers. They're really good, stuff like that, but they're not good finish guys from what I see. I don't think they have a culture of discipline and mastery.
Well, this morning I went over. We went over to your neighbor's house. This is my first episode being engaged, so that's really fun.
Oh yeah.
He's going to be a married man.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm jealous.
He is married, but whatever. So we were actually, your neighbor does wedding venues, as you know, and we went over and she gave us a tour of her house, which was made in the 1790s when George Washington was president.
It's a cool house.
And what was amazing about that is like you have this house, like the mastery and the craft
that lasts 300 years almost.
Like most houses are blown over in 100 and unlivable.
If they live at 100, yeah.
So, I mean, there's new builds that 7 years down the road are falling apart. So
yeah, they're garbage.
Yeah, but I just think it's really cool to see the mastery and like you have these like log houses that
do you want me to explain to you why that is?
Perfect. Sure.
It has nothing to do with the craftsmanship. It has to do with the materials.
The quality of materials?
The quality of materials. When her house was built, that lumber came off a tree that was probably 200 years old. It had already condensed to the point where it's almost putrefied, and it was harder than any other kind of wood you could buy.
Yeah.
Now, the pine that we get, you can run your thumbnail into it and get a 1/4 inch in it. You can't do that on old growth lumber. But to the scale that we have to build, we don't have the ability to let lumber get old enough to become hard enough to where it doesn't have dramatic shrinkage problems.
Yeah, that actually makes sense. And then cut it down.
Yes, and we just don't have the scale to do that. Now, you can get stuff like that's why like a walnut table is prized, or a hardwood table like an oak table, right? Because that wood ain't gonna move.
Yeah,
it's gonna be there forever. It's a hard wood. Pine is a soft wood.
Heavy as shit.
Yes, pine is a soft wood. Soft wood is better for building because it's easier to cut, it's easier to nail, it's just easier to work with, and it's fast growing, and pine trees go straight. A oak tree does not grow straight. So the availability of trees we have to use in order to build, we can't let them get old enough in order to, now old growth pine is hard, but you also have to have a drying process that allows it to get to a moisture level to where it is hard enough. We don't have time for that.
Yeah.
If you want your 2,000 square foot house in a, cookie cutter neighborhood, and here's the other thing, look, before I get off on a tangent on that, the outside material. So what you have is framing, right? You have wood that builds a house, and then all the stuff that goes on the inside and the outside of the house is stationary. It can't move. Mm-hmm. So when the wood shrinks, all the stuff that is stationary on the inside, drywall, siding, all your other stuff, it stays put because it is not a contracting material. That's what causes a lot of cracks and a lot of like falling apart. It's not that the house is actually falling apart. What's happening is the wood that was used is usually wet wood because they frame in the rain, sleet, and snow out in South Carolina. The wood's wet. Then they go put drywall on. When the wood is typically in the summer times is expanded to its max point, then they put siding on, and then all of a sudden the wood inside the house gets dry, contracts, and nothing else contracts with it.
Yeah.
And then you have all these cracks and stuff like that, which is normal. But the difference also is that the houses back then were built overbuilt. Like now we have to subtract the material that we build a new house with and try to conserve material because we're more efficient at it and we have better technologies and all that sort of stuff. But the houses that we have now are just built with materials that are garbage. It's not necessarily the labor is, I guess, what I was getting at.
Well, more than that, I think what's really interesting about old things in general, but especially old houses because it's such at scale, is the character that we have versus the character that we don't have these days. Like in that house that we went in this morning, there's not a surface that is level. Like everything is slanted, and because it's just everything's eyeballed. Yeah, it's all hand built, which I thought is cool. Not something I would want to live in necessarily, though, which is interesting. Because I think the same things that I think are cool are also not something that I would want to deal with all the time.
Yeah,
like we went up steps that are literally slanted and
they're like this.
Curving and
like
and
they're at an angle that is almost
scary.
Yeah.
They got trip steps in them. She told us, so in old houses, you'll have a step that is half of the width and half of the height. And they did that because if you didn't know it was there and you're going up in the dark to intrude on somebody, you'll trip on that step unless you know it's there, and you'll wake everybody up because it'll be a loud fall, which I thought was really cool.
There's
I'd
also
never heard
factors
of that before.
people's feet were smaller.
Yeah. Also, people in general were smaller.
If you go into an old house, the door handle is approximately 3 or 4 inches lower on a door.
Yeah.
It's because people weren't as tall. It's just the door casings used to be lower. I mean, everything in the house is built for like a 5'5" human.
Yeah.
5'7" human.
Hit your head on everything now.
Yeah. I mean,
6 feet tall.
But I think pretty much everything in America has been remodeled. You can find very few things that have not been through a significant remodel.
Yeah. Even the other one, the one we went in this morning, I mean, she's remodeled most of it, and it's, there's been additions to it. And I mean, that thing was, to your point, like nothing is as it was 300 years ago.
And
it's
you wouldn't
all been
want it.
livable and touched up.
Yeah,
it wouldn't be
you
livable
wouldn't
anymore.
want it.
No.
It's cool. Like, I meet people who are like, oh, I'd love to buy I was talking about my brother about this the other day. He's looking at buying a house and he's like, oh, I want to buy a fixer-upper. I'm like, are you sure? It's like, you have a full-time job and 4 kids.
Yeah.
At home. He's got 3 kids at home. You ain't got time for a fixer-upper. You may think you do, but the ruse and the luxury of doing a fixer-upper runs out in about 6 months, and then you're sick and tired of going home and having chores to do. Like, it's cool. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, and that's fine. You shouldn't know. We remodeled this whole house, and it's about 3,800 square feet, and it's a monster of a house. We had to dump about 130 to 100. I don't even know how much I spent yet. 130 to 150,000 in this house after we bought it, and then that's with me doing a lot of the labor myself. So it's cool, but I mean, you get tired of it real quick. Like Chip and Joanna Gaines changed that, and made everybody an expert in flipping houses and remodeling houses, and made it really cool. But I can guarantee you the cool wears off very, 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 very fast.
Yeah. No, I can imagine, especially for people that are in over their heads and don't actually have the expertise to do all of the projects. Because then you have to go through the learning curve as well before you even get to the actual fixing part of things. So,
and I'm half retarded sometimes. So I found out my IQ is way lower than I thought it was.
I don't think those were exactly scientific.
No, they weren't exact tests. But it takes me a lot longer to really learn something.
Yeah.
And there's stuff that I just learned more about advanced plumbing on this house than I did a year ago, because I had to hyper focus on it to get things done on this house. And it's things that if you don't have a background in it, like what used to take me a year to learn now takes me about 2 months to learn. But to jump in on your first house and try to remodel a house and be quote unquote a flipper, good luck, man. I praise the people who try to do it, but it is anyways, the reason I was talking to my brother about it, I was like, you're better off buying like a 4-year-old home that everything's already broken that's going to break. Find a good deal on one. Do the cosmetic stuff, but don't go buy a 1970s or 80s house. Because guess what? They're not insulated very well. Your power bill is going to be more over the long run of the house than you would have saved on your actual mortgage. If your power bill is $200 more per month and you're saving $150 on a 30-year mortgage because you saved $50,000 on a house, you lost. If your windows are drafty and you get sick twice a year because you're catching a cold, or you have sinus issues because all the pollen's coming in, you lost.
Yeah.
There's
it's better to live in a smaller home with less windows and
less problems.
Expensive. Yeah.
Or just spend that. Like, don't try to be a hero. Like, don't try to swing for the fence. It's okay if that's what you do for a living. But if you're just a regular dude or a regular girl with kids, you don't need that hassle. And what you need to do is find only paint and like maybe some cabinets or something like that, but stay out of the flipper world.
Everybody's dream though is to buy, like, have the Porsche and the Mercedes and the nice things, and then to buy the 8,000 square foot home that's just ginormous. But it's like, if you want to dust the baseboards, that takes all day. Like,
all day.
I don't know that I want that kind of maintenance.
Well, if you can afford that, you can afford a
housekeeper. Yeah, but
I want a Porsche. My next car is going to be a Porsche 911.
Yeah, that would be dope.
That'd getting
really
one.
Cool.
Now, I'm not going to go buy a brand new one because they're they're like 160 grand.
Yeah,
somewhere around there.
One, maybe like a 5-year-old one that's depreciated.
I'll probably get like a 2000. I want to get a when they change the transmissions. I want to get a full manual car. So probably like 2005, 2003 to 2005, low miles.
Well, you're buying a driving experience.
Yeah,
you're not buying especially with a Porsche. Like, for that price point, you can go buy something else to be flashy. That's much,
our
much
cars
more
are
high status.
My cars are paid for. All my stuff's paid for. So for me, it's like, okay, if I can save 40 grand and justify 40 grand for just fun, and I have to look at it that way, which, like, I'm going to drive this thing until it's worth nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm
just
going
have a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm going to, like, drive the shit out of it.
Do you know how to drive a manual?
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to learn.
You don't know how to drive a manual?
No, nobody knows how to drive a manual. If you went and picked 100 people off the street, I bet you one of them knows how to drive a manual.
I mean, my first car was 4 of my cars have been manuals.
There's only 2 reasons that you know how to drive a manual. One is because
you're old enough to where manuals are still made.
Manuals were commonplace. Or 2, you were so broke when you were in high school that you had to buy a manual because that's all you could afford.
Everybody wanted manuals.
When?
It wasn't a want. It wasn't a necessity. It was like people preferred manuals 20 years ago.
Because of the driving experience?
Yeah, because when you're young, you get to rip through gears. It's pretty daggone fun. Yeah. Nobody wants an automatic car. When you were a kid, your dream is to punch through gears if you're a man and go have fun no matter. Dude, we used to take my little Geo Metro, which is a Toyota Corolla, but Geo rebranded it, up to the mountains and go run the dirt roads up there and fly through them and get them stuck and crash them. I've got some wild car story. I got thrown off the back of a car. I've done 70 or 80 miles per hour on the top of a car.
Well, you're a dumbass. So
no, dude, we just grew up in the country and like there was nothing else to do. We did drugs, got drunk, and drove cars. Like
that's dumbassery.
Yes. Yeah. But 20 years ago, we still had testosterone in our body. And that's part of why you did that stuff, because you're trying to one up each other.
Burn it off.
Dude, we need to go into this. What is going on with young men? I see nothing but young men sitting at home and it's really starting to bother me that you talk to the average girl, they don't get chased around anymore by guys.
Well, it's because of the whole Me Too stuff that
I don't buy that.
Yeah, it was. Well,
I buy that men just don't have enough testosterone in their body to make them want to go do it.
Do you know who Chris Williamson is?
No.
He's another podcaster, and he had a great point about this Me Too movement thing. And it was essentially that any message that gets pushed out is always going to reach the wrong audience. And
that's a fair point.
This is what he explained it by saying, if you are a man that already has the inclination to go out and chase women and pick up girls on the street or whatever, if you tell him, girls are uncomfortable by what you do or whatever, his immediate thought was going to be, oh, that message isn't for me. Like, I'm good. I do enough. Like, I'm not that, it's not for me. But then the guy that doesn't do it enough and should be the one to be more outgoing and doesn't make people uncomfortable enough, he's the guy that will think, oh, I knew I was being too forward. Because it's a self-confirmation bias. It's only going to confirm what you already believe about yourself.
But that's almost beside the point, man. The chemicals in your body determine your actions most of the time, especially as a young man. Right? All right? I don't care who told me what when I was young. My penis led my brain.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you could have told me every girl that I hit on, a baby died in Sudan. I would have still hit on 100 girls a day. It would not have mattered because it was the simple fact of my brain was wired one way. And
I think, to your point, there's a larger population of guys now that would be in the second group of being too timid. I think
it's not that they're even too timid. They're not even going out and even okay.
They're not in the areas.
They're not even in the game.
Yeah.
They're not playing the game. And they're saying, well, the game is rigged or the girls only want money, which all of that is true. But if you don't go swing, you can't miss. And you have to miss a lot. This is what I would tell young guys. Like, of course you're going to fail. Duh. Like, that's part of the game. But if you, this translates to the business world too. If you don't get out there and like get in the game, you will lose. Now, you will eventually find someone, but you don't want to be a 30-year-old man getting married to a 30-year-old woman. That 30-year-old woman, if you haven't been in the game, guess what? She has been in the game because she doesn't have to play. She just shows up in the games played for her. If that's the case, you're getting the second or third best of what you could have if you'd have started that process earlier. Yeah. Now, is that degrading the woman who's 30-year-old and single? No, I'm not degrading. What I'm saying is that she wants a man in her early 20s too. The problem is you were sitting on your ass playing video games and you were not available to her.
Well, I think it's similar. I mean, it applies to all resources, right? Like if you wait too long to get into any specific resource, it eventually runs out and you get the leftovers.
Correct. So, that's exactly right.
And like you said, it's not degrading the 30-year-old woman because she would agree with you that
of course she
when
would.
She was in her 20s, she wanted a man at that point. In her 30s, you are getting the leftovers if that's when you're getting into dating. You are. Like all the best ones are already picked up. Like the 20-year-olds,
yes,
most gorgeous women are already nailed down. So.
There are a lot of women who get divorced in their late 20s because they get married early and then they just got wooed by a guy and they get divorced and then there's a second chance at them. That happens a lot too. But the divorce rate is going down.
Right, but would you rather have... It's the same argument. It's still the leftovers because you're still getting the leftovers.
Leftovers is not the right word. What you're getting is...
Yeah, that has a negative connotation to it.
Yeah, what you're getting is someone who is... most likely comes with baggage.
Yeah.
Because they've had to go through, it is easier, look, and I'm not one to, I'm probably I'm a great example. I got married at the right time. I was 26. I picked up a 20-year-old, right, who's now my wife. We've been married almost 10 years. It worked out great. Okay. But had I gone another year or two being single, I would not be married because I had a ton of money. I had a ton of freedom. I had readily access to women who I did not have to go and look for dates because I was at that ripe age of like money, time, and confidence that like for women who are 26, it was easy for them to look at me and say, okay, this is a good opportunity for a long-term mate. Had I not taken the plunge to get married, I think, and this is how I know that men need to do it. It's like, there is no perfect mate, number one. Number two, the older you get, it's going to be harder and harder and harder for you when you finally do get married to switch your brain from single mode to married mode.
Yeah.
By the way, when you get married, you don't stop thinking about other women. That's what they don't tell you.
Not to,
it's not that you stop thinking about them. You stop acting on it. That is the only difference. The hardest part is not acting on it. I'll give you an example. If you're used to being single, regular flirtation with women is commonplace. When you get married, you can no longer linger the extra 5 minutes in a room with a woman and just do small talk. It's inappropriate.
Yeah.
That is hard to do. And if you do that enough while you're married, you will cheat. You will. I've never cheated on my wife. I never will cheat on my wife because I beat that out of me. But when I was freshly married, I came very close subconsciously a few times because I liked the attention from women that I still was craving that attention that I got when I was single. Oh, I'm just having a conversation with her. Little do I know, she wants to pull my pants down. Well, and I know that subconsciously So I'm lingering longer in order to get that feeling. You can't do that when you're married. All men do it when you're single because you want to see how far it could go. Let's really see how far this can go. So I'm just going to linger a little bit longer.
It's an innate drive that we're...
Correct. And women do the same thing, by the way. Women crave attention from men, okay? And at the older she gets, the more chance it is that she's going to have a problem switching her brain off as well. It's a problem. That's why the divorce rate when social media came out skyrocketed. Look at the statistics. Look when Facebook came out and look when the boomer generation started getting divorced. It lines up perfectly. It's because all of a sudden they had ability to women they never had access to before, and they did not have to have the discipline that young men have to have now.
Yeah.
Because then all of a sudden porn was everywhere, the accessibility of women is everywhere, online dating was everywhere, and they had money and resources that younger women who were divorced in their 30s and 40s wanted, and then they could just talk to them on the internet.
Yeah.
Divorce rate skyrocketed.
Well, I remember seeing not that long ago, and I don't remember the exact numbers, so I'm not even going to throw it out there, but I encourage people to go look it up. Like the actual numbers on what people think is the true amount of affairs and cheating that actually happen is like alarming. And it used to be, I mean, we used to have like nudie mags, like that was the thing. So, I mean, it's always been there, I guess, in a way. But now, especially with like the advent of porn blowing up and ruining relationships and young men's minds in general, it's a mind virus.
Ruined my mind for a little bit.
It like we've just subbed out prostitution and cheating for you can do it online and you can do it quietly in private.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say, and I talk about this publicly. I quit whacking off like a year and a half ago. Year and a half ago. That was hard, bro. It's a 30-year habit. And look, this may be TMI for some people, but listen, it's a real thing. You are doing self-harm every time you do it, whether you know it or not. And you may think to yourself it's an innocent thing, but I'm telling you right now, when you're a married man, if you're doing that, you need to stop. And if you're a single man, you need to stop. And here's why you need to stop. That drive that you need to have to go pursue a woman, you're just blowing into a handkerchief every day. That is what you're doing. And you're saying, well, I can do that and do the other. No, you can't. No, you can't. Sorry, you're not capable of doing both. You may think you're Superman. You're not. It is. And look, it took me 35 years to quit. 20 years to quit, I guess. Maybe longer than that. And I don't watch porn anymore. Now, the internet's the devil, and I still see it, but I don't go to porn sites and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. You're not actively searching it out.
No, there's porn everywhere is the problem.
Yeah.
And what used to be like porn
a loose definition, seeing a girl at the beach is like the same thing as seeing porn. Yeah, might as well be. They're essentially naked. They're not leaving much to the imagination.
And I've never understood that. Like a girl would be embarrassed if she walked into your house in her underwear, but she'll go to the beach in a thong.
Yeah.
It's like,
it doesn't make any sense.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Now, and this is the other thing I see, like your generation does not get turned on by women in little clothes. When I go out in public,
we're so desensitized.
When I go out in public, bro, and I see butt lips hanging out and titties hanging out, I get aroused. Because I'm just like, I'm not used to it. First of all, I don't go out much.
Yeah.
Number two, like, I'm still chock full of testosterone.
We see it everywhere, though. Yeah, every time you open your phone, every time you go outside, every time you see people in society, it's everywhere.
It is everywhere.
It's like a drug. Like the more you use the drug, the bigger a dose you're going to need.
I blame that on men. And here's the reason why. When you're not chasing women, the reason they're acting like that is they're trying to get your attention because they're not getting any. Yeah. They're not getting attention because you sons of bitches are staying at home, not going out and chasing them. I guarantee you, if every man got a dose of TRT or quit whacking off and raise their testosterone by eating right and working out and went out and chased women, women would dress like nuns Because they'd be so tired of getting pestered by men and getting
supply
attention.
and demand. It's the same things that govern. Like, this is why I get so frustrated with people in politics and religion, in everything, because the same rules that govern one part of your life govern the rest of the parts of your life. The same rules that govern economics, the same rules that govern Christianity, the same rules that govern, politics and conservatism. It's all the same. It's all supply and demand. And if there are too many women that aren't being chased by enough men, they're not in demand, and they need to make themselves more in demand, because it's in our nature. It's how humans were bred for years and years and years.
Yes, it's no more than biology.
Right.
But the problem is that men, if I'm 38 years old now, the average 38-year-old that I meet is a fat, lazy dude, wears a backwards hat.
Frat guy.
It's not a frat guy. It's this like ghettoification of men, and like this like wannabe thug, like country boy nonsense in the South. It's like, hey, dude, like, why don't you dress like a gentleman? Why don't you act like a gentleman? Why don't you turn off your stupid, like, what's his name? What's that country singer that everybody loves? It's like
Morgan Wallen.
Morgan Wallen. And like, get that crap out of your brain. Like, you're not some broke redneck, like, that's white trash that drinks every night like Morgan Wallen sings about. You're an educated dude who comes from a good family in the suburbs of Simpsonville. Get over yourself. Why is your truck jacked up and you're driving all around Greenville like you're some overlander? You're not. You barely go outside. What is this facade? And now, look, every generation has this problem, but what I've seen is men pour themselves into their hobbies rather than their life. And that is another symptom of just stay-at-home internet losers who like look on the internet all day and the next cool fad to get into instead of pursuing life. And it's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, life is going to go by you, and you're going to be 35 years old. Your wife's going to be 250 pounds because you're not chasing her. She doesn't feel loved. She's fat now because she ate all her feelings. You're turning into a tub of crap.
There's I'm going to interrupt you right here. There's a guy, I forget what his name is, but his tag on Instagram is New York City divorce lawyer. Have you ever seen him? Yeah. I love watching his videos. I think they're so entertaining. And some of the stuff I agree with, some of the stuff I don't. But he talks a lot about the different things that he puts in prenups. And I think one of the funniest ones is
weight gain.
Yeah, guys that put, if you lose everything in the divorce, if you gain X amount of weight, which is...
I mean, obviously, I don't agree with that.
Yeah,
I think
not
that's
a great
nonsense.
thing.
But what we have in society right now going on is just ineptitude and
conversely, that guy that put that in there, he's being real clear about what his priorities are.
Look, my wife,
that's better than
my wife and I sat down about it when we first got married.
Blindsided about it.
We're not allowed to get fat. We're not allowed to. It's a no-no. Like, I got up to 210 pounds. I was a little chubby, but I wasn't fat. I was still in really good shape, but I was a little bit heavy, and I lost the weight. It was a simple matter of I looked at myself one day, I was like, this is gross. Like, I have a gut. I am not supposed to have a gut.
Yeah.
I am a man. I have responsibilities and duties to my wife and my children to not be fat. It is a and I'm a Christian. I love Jesus. He gave me a perfect body that I have corrupted. He did not corrupt my body.
With all those baked sweets that your wife makes you.
I love sweets, dude. But I mean, like, I'm on a no refined sugar diet right now. I'm on a no alcohol. I do drink, but very sparsely, but I'm doing 3 months no alcohol. Why? It's not to lose the weight. It's more like, do I have the discipline in my life to go without things that I want?
I'm turning 21 on Tuesday. Are you going to break it for me?
No.
No, you suck.
I will give you a beer.
Screw you.
But I mean, you were a man to me at 18 and I gave you a beer. I don't count 21 as becoming a man. If you order one at a bar by yourself, that's more significant than drinking one at a house, because I gave you beers when you were 18 anyways. Sorry,
maybe
Mom
not when
and
I
Dad.
was 18, but
I met you when you were 18. You had a
Did you
beer
really?
at my house.
I don't remember.
Oh, I mean, I'll give a 16-year-old a beer if I consider him a man.
Well, yeah.
If you're working, you're out of school, and you're living by yourself at 16, you can have beer at my house anytime. Who the fuck cares what the law says?
Yeah.
Law doesn't live at my house.
I also think if you're in your own private residence, do whatever the hell you want.
Exactly. I mean, I don't care. But back to the point, I mean, like, I've got young men in my family that are 16 years old, and like, they're out hunting and fishing. One of them just picked up one of my canoes and I gave it to him. He's going to go run around the woods and like kill stuff and catch stuff. And he's got a girlfriend and he's getting a job. He's got his own truck. That's more than most 25-year-old men have right now. That to me is like the sign that things are turning around. And I hope to God they are. Because I'm worried that my daughter, who is 10 years old, won't get pursued by almost 10 years old, that won't get pursued by men when she's 16 years old. And some are like, well, I don't want me to chase my daughter. Okay,
yeah,
weirdo.
You do.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want your daughter to think of you as her husband?
The difference is
weirdo?
You want her to have the high standards to know which ones to turn away.
Yeah, but I mean, she's got to have options.
Right.
You know, it's easy to say you won't do something when you don't have the options.
Yeah.
That's like you got to be like, I would never do something with that girl. It's like, bro.
What's your alternative?
She doesn't even want you.
Yeah.
And neither does anyone else. So why don't you get some options before you start getting picky?
Well, I think what I would want for my daughter is obviously, yes, I want her to have the option of anybody she wants, but have the wisdom and the mindfulness to know which one is actually the right one for her. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I don't know. I don't think women have that kind of wisdom.
Well, you instill it through her. Like,
no, the example. Not the wisdom. I think that's more
well, it's down the line of example. So like you set the example, and then through seeing her father and seeing what her father models, that's going to be her definition of a man. If her father sucks, right, and doesn't show her any love, she's going to go seek that through somebody else. If she sees a great man in her father, she's going to look for someone similar.
She will look for the opposite of him in the extreme way.
Right. But it's typically, if you set a great example for your daughter of what a man is and what a man looks like and how a man should treat and respect her, then she will go seek that out also in a relationship. So that's the wisdom. I'm
50-50 on that. So I think that there's a lot more room for error than people give credit for. If you, like, I've said this before, I'm not that great of a dad. I'm an okay dad, but I love my wife. And I love my children, and they know that. Yeah. And I treat my wife with the utmost respect, and I love her. I mean, I run around sticking my finger in her butt all day, like, you know, like chasing her around like a man should, right? Showing her that I love her and that I'm still sexually attracted to her. And whether you know it or not, your kids pick up on the fact that why does dad always playing with mom? Well, that's how they get that idea of love. They don't know what love is. They don't know, but they know the characteristics of a healthy relationship as they get older, because love is not figured out until you're way older.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The wisdom is downstream of the example that you set for them.
And
so they only know what is modeled for them in childhood. So if they see you being a good example, then they can do two things with that. They can take that and they can chase that themselves through, you know, a man that they find out in society, or they can rebel against that. And you kind of have, I'm coming more of the opinion that you kind of have no control. It's just kind of how kids are wired.
You don't. Yeah.
So but all you can do is set the right example, because if you set a poor example, it's more likely that they go and chase something.
More likely, yes.
To replace you that's unhealthy. But vice versa, if you set a good example, it's more likely that they go chase someone similar to you because they were well loved and cared for as a child. Yeah. But there's always the possibility that they rebel against that, or they make poor decisions. I mean, that's life.
And to round out this point, what I'm worried about is that when my daughter gets of that age, men just are not going to be the same. And it may be that she has to adapt to a different sort of structure in a relationship than what she's used to in her home that she grew up with, because men just don't act like that anymore. But God, I hope they do, because I know that women like it. And, you know, I dated a lot of women before my wife, and they all liked it. Yeah. a woman. I mean, it's every woman. They want to feel like they are the center of, women like to be the center of attention, of the man that they choose to be their mate or whatever the case is. And by the way, it's a very vulnerable thing for a woman to admit and or lay down, which is part of that submissiveness that God talks about, is that I could kill my wife in 2 seconds. I could hit her as hard as I could in the face and she'd die. Right?
Bare hands. Yeah.
Bare hands. I could clobber her in the face and she'd die if I never took her to the hospital. She has to live with that every day.
Yeah. She has to trust.
Yes.
Yeah.
When she's naked, I could point at her and pick out something on her body that maybe she feels insecure about and ruin her life. I could do that. She can't do that to me.
Yeah.
So I have a duty to treat her a certain way that because she's vulnerable to me, I have a duty to treat her a certain way.
Yeah.
And that is where like men, I think, miss the point, is like, you have an obligation and a duty to go chase her and make her feel special. Because guess what, buddy? If you don't, there's a guy at her work that will.
Dude, that I love that you brought this up, because there is, in Scripture, it tells us that the woman is supposed to be submissive to the man, and that we have roles in a marriage. And that's taken so out of context from women,
abused.
because it's an ego thing for women.
It's taken out of context by men too.
Right. But I'm saying, specifically what I'm talking about here is, I think women take this out of context and think of it as, I'm less than because of this. But I think what they don't understand is that because you are called to be submissive to your man, you're also, as a woman, you're called to be submissive, to find a man that you can be submissive to.
Correct.
Right? So if you're with the wrong man, you messed up. Like, that was your responsibility, and you failed at that, at finding the right man. Obviously, he failed in his responsibilities as well,
I
too.
disagree with
I think
the premise of right.
Well, I think as men, as to your point, I think we need to be more worth.
Right.
Like, if someone's going to follow someone else, that means they need to be worth following.
That's
right?
true.
We need to have better leaders in the home. So it starts with men being better in the home and being better husbands, better fathers, so that women, because if we had great men everywhere,
all the problems would be solved.
I guarantee you, women would not feel a certain type of way about being told that they should be submissive to men, because they would agree.
100% agree.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think it's, the onus is on the men to be better, not on the women to be.
You think we'd have lesbians running around in Honda Pilots blocking ICE agents in the road?
Oh, God.
By the way, she was married and has kids. Then she got gay. Then she left her kids at home, hours away, to go protest ICE. Now, and look, should that ICE officer have shot her? Absolutely not. The dude was a coward for shooting her.
Yeah.
Move, buddy.
Yeah.
Don't shoot a woman in the face.
I want to preface it with, that was a tragedy, and that was a horrific thing to have happened.
If you're on the right and you say that that's not a tragedy, then why are you screaming about Ashley Babbitt and the January 6th riots getting shot in the face by a cop? You can't say one without the other.
It's right. That was a tragedy, but it's okay to acknowledge that, A, that was a tragedy, and B, maybe don't run your car at law enforcement.
She was leaving the premises, and look, dude, I would have probably done the same thing.
Yeah.
Does that deserve you getting shot in the face? No. The officer should have took his little bump by the car and walked it off.
Yeah.
Don't be a fucking chode. In
his defense, he also didn't know if she was going to run him over or not.
If she had a man at the house like, look, honey, we're going to do this in a more peaceful way, and we're not going to go nag the cops. Yeah. Or her wife was like, hey, listen, we could go do it this way, or we could go do it another way. Maybe we go help the children in our neighborhood become better people, or we go help the immigrants down the road from us. But instead, we're going to drive a couple hours away and go protest ICE. It's like, okay, how are you being effective exactly? Or are you doing it for attention while you're on your phone live streaming it on Facebook? If
you think screaming at officers with guns is going to fix the problem.
By the way, I've done that. Doesn't end well.
No.
I got away with it one time. Didn't get away with it a few other times.
Yeah, it's not the smartest strategy.
But listen, there's no one. The thing is, we have a passive society, right? That doesn't tell people when they're wrong. I see this all the time. We used to go to a church called Grace Baptist Church, and I'm not trying to trash this church. They have a great message and everything. We tried to go there, but there's people in backwards hats in church on their phone. What are we doing? You got a backwards hat on in church? Yeah. No. But the elders wouldn't say anything to them because they're pacifists. I mean, and I see this in a lot of churches. And it's like, if it's happening in the church, it's happening to 10 degrees more everywhere else.
I hesitate to judge people.
I'm not judging them. I'm judging the environment.
I think you have to be very careful with that because you want to encourage people to come as they are, right? You don't take a shower. Like if you're dirty, right, and you're dirty in sin, going to church is taking the shower, right? You don't clean yourself off to get in the shower.
And again, I'm not saying God cares.
So, right, but in the same way, you never want to discourage people from going to church.
Wouldn't discourage them. I would encourage them to take their damn hat off.
Right. I mean, you can say something about the other Christians in that church we're just in a different time. But
no, but respect, like, and I've explained this to you.
Right, but the customs of respect change.
They do change, and I am getting older, and I understand that I do not fit in the mold that is now being made.
Yeah. Some people hear you say that, and they're just like, you're the old man that yells, get off my lawn, which is fine. And then other people see a guy, like, I wouldn't bat an eye if I saw a dude with a backwards hat. It's just the generation I was raised in. And he may think of it the same way. He may think he's doing no disrespect. The being on the phone part is like, you either want to be there or don't. Like, let's.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. It's more, but when you stack things, it's not a single event.
Yeah.
It's stacking, right? It's stacking things that then make it like, okay, I don't like the worship music, because it's all female-led choirs, and then they're also singing in female keys, and they're also singing songs written by females, and then the pastors are wearing skinny jeans, and they look feminine, and it's like, fuck! I can only do one of the 5 things here, right? Maybe I can put up with 2 of them, but I can't put up with 5 of them. But that's what I see everywhere. It's like, okay, if I go to Walmart, I can deal with 1 person looking gross. I can't deal with 1,000.
Yeah.
It's like, put some decent clothes on when you go out in public. Like, act like a man. Tell your children to shut up.
There's my parents once took one of the like farms that goes on. I forget what it's called. It's in Anderson, isn't it? The Holly Wild or whatever.
Holly Wild Zoo is in Greer,
or maybe not. What's the one right down the road?
Denver Downs.
Denver Downs,
right down the road.
My parents took my little sister to Denver Downs one year, and they were on a hayride. And there was a lady sitting right across from him with like crack out, like no belt, like total redneck. And she had on a t-shirt that was way too small for her. And it was black and it had a knife on it. And it said just the tip.
Nice.
Real classy individual.
And this isn't,
at a kid's event.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm
people
talking.
Have no like,
but that's what I'm talking about. Like, it's stacking problems.
Yeah,
we're talking about a degradation of society, right, and we're talking about overall. Now, I see a lot coming back. I see a lot more 20-year-olds walking around with mustaches and Wranglers on and cowboy boots than I ever have. And it makes me somewhat hopeful that at least some testosterone is flowing through their body. Now, do I think they're cowboys? No, you're not a cowboy if you live in South Carolina, because we don't have that many cows. But, I like to see that at least it's being replicated of what we're men, right? They're searching for some semblance of, and we're seeing a lot of country music come back. Right. There's a lot of good things happening, but as a whole, I think that we've allowed the same thing I'm talking about, the lady in Minnesota that got shot. Like, I hate that happened. If I were in the premise of that officer, I would have told him he was a coward. Yeah. And I would have, like, that pisses me off. There was a kid about 10 years ago in Easley that was getting busted on a drug bust for selling weed to a cop. The dude tried to pull out and he shot the kid like 6 times. Right? Because he tried to pull away. Made me so angry. Over weed. And like now it's legal. Now they won't even arrest him. It's like, I disagree with that sort of stuff, but I think also we have a problem with the degradation of society and people being professionally mad. And that stems from no leadership other places and also no morality police in their own community. And I do believe in morality police. Like if I'm acting like a moron and some old dude walks up to me and says, hey, knock it off, I'd be like, yeah, you're right. And I'm the kind of guy who doesn't like being told what to do, but there's certain points because I was raised that like there's right and there's wrong. And there's also, you're allowed to be corrected by society. Like it's okay to be corrected. I just see like the willingness to be corrected in society by your other peers like going away. And I believe that's causing a lot of problems. Back to the church thing. Like it's the same thing. It's like if I were to walked up to the kid and told him to take his damn hat off and quit playing on his phone and watching YouTube and you're sitting right next to me, you're distracting me. You're like, well, who are you?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm the only guy here telling you to not do disrespectful things. That's who I am. I'm trying to help you.
Yeah.
But
people take it as a sign of disrespect.
Yeah. When no respect is earned, like you have to earn it, you know. And maybe this is me being older. Like you earned the right to to sit at the adult table.
Right.
And like that came from your actions and not over like a week period. It was years of like doing the right thing and being a leader and, you know, on some sort of facet in your life. But I feel like young men now, they're like, well, you know, I'm in control of my life. It's like, not really. You're still living at your parents' house, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you know, until you make that leap into adulthood, like it's hard for me to not like correct you along the way in your public life. But I found myself even now being more reserved because it's almost not worth the trouble.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't know where that ends or stops, you know, or begins.
Yeah. Let's move into something else. You can tell me about, we've discussed at length what you think is coming financially and economically. Tell me a little bit about what you think is coming down the pipe in the next 5 years for the United States dollar, and then also for home buying, et cetera.
To qualify myself, I'm an investor. So, you know, and I invest in businesses and housing and stuff like that. So, and I'm not a big time investor. I'm no big shot. You know, I'm a nobody in the investment world, but I have a little bit of a grasp on what's going on. I think it's a dual. We're heading, whether we like it or not, no matter what Trump's doing. By the way, I think he's doing a great job right now trying to turn the ship around.
Stock market is raging,
which is not which is not a sign of a healthy economy right now. That is a false flag. We are heading into a duality society based upon people's wants. Young people can't afford a house if they wanted to. It's a matter of choices. People are choosing different choices now, and they're prioritizing different things. So with that, I believe that if the economy is headed that way, we're going to become a have and have not society. We're going to have people who own houses and people who do not own houses, and that's how it'll stay. It's not like...
Well, to be fair, housing prices are outrageous compared to the earning power of salaries versus like the amount of a mortgage payment is based on the average salary versus what it was is significantly larger.
No, in South Carolina, it's the exact same.
I don't have the data right in front of me, so I can't.
If you get out of college right now, you're making $75,000 to $90,000 a year in most fields.
Yeah, that is
unheard of 10 years ago. 10 years ago, a house wasn't $250,000.
But the houses have if that increases by $20,000, whip-de frickin' do, the housing prices have doubled.
Yeah, but how $20,000 more in income is roughly $100,000 more in house you can buy. So the more if you look at a 30-year mortgage, what it costs, it's staying pretty close to what salaries are. So but the priorities have changed.
From the data I've seen, I don't have it in front of me, but I think the data generally disagrees with you.
It's not
on
the house
United
payment.
States.
It's not the house
basis.
payment that kills people. It's the taxes, and it's the PMI, and it's the utilities that are killing people. In your car payment, your cell phone payment, your toy payment, whatever you got a UTV or a boat or whatever, That's what's killing people. Student loans, it's not the housing. That's what I'm saying. People are making different choices and prioritizing different things. They'd rather have the ability to go out 3 times a week than to own a house. If you told the average person your fun is over for 2 years, but you can own a house, they'd rather just not have the house. And that's what it's going to take in order for you to own a house. And that's what it took 20 years ago to buy a house.
Yeah.
But I feel like there weren't as many readily available choices to go have fun and spend your money 20 years ago. 20 years ago, there wasn't constant invites to things on social media for you to go spend your money on.
Right.
So it's like, and if you are prioritizing those things, you can't moan about the housing prices because you're prioritizing different things. When I first bought a house, it was cheap, but I really wasn't making any. I mean, I was still making a lot of money, but like my income was twice my peers' income or 3 times my peers' income, but they were still buying houses too. Mm-hmm. So it now I still see people in their early 20s buying houses, but they seem to be more disciplined. Like they have a budget for it. They don't go out. They get married early. They have a home life. Those sort of things.
Which, by the way, there's a direct correlation between being married and income over your lifetime income.
It's way up. It's way more.
Like, it's the same way, and this is changing now with college degrees, but in the same way, I would say back in the 80s, where it was you were expected to make 20% more or whatever over your lifetime if you got a college degree versus a GED or high school diploma.
Yeah.
In the same way, now it's like, so that was a separator, and now getting married early, like the earlier you get married, it's the same inverse correlation to having so if you get married early and have a college degree, you have you are in the highest tier of expected lifetime income, as compared to somebody that's got a high school diploma or dropped out that didn't get married ever, or maybe until their 30s.
And I think that's going to inverse in the next 10 years. And I was about to go into that. So I think what's happening right now is that professional services are going to get crushed. I just made my logo for my new company in 3 hours on ChatGPT, which I used to have to pay $1,500 to $2,000 for. They used to have to wait 3 weeks. I'd have to go through a bunch of edits and changes. I did it in 2-3 hours. Those professional services are going to get crushed. Real estate closing attorneys going to get crushed in the next 10 years. Paralegals going to get crushed. Home designers going to get crushed. Architects going to get crushed.
Entirely AI or
AI, baby.
Yeah.
Why would you pay an architecture firm to build a building for you when ChatGPT can do it in 5 minutes and give structurally integral plans and get it stamped by a regulatory approved architecture AI firm?
Well, the common argument is that in the same way that when the internet came out, everybody was like, oh my God, this is going to replace everybody. Do you think, but it actually created jobs. Do you think AI will do the same?
No, but that's what I was about to say. So it's going to create different jobs, but it's going to create more manual labor jobs than anything. Productivity will go up, but it'll only go up in one class. Right? Mm-hmm. So there was a great euphemism used about ATMs. It thought it would take out all bankers, all cash, the whatever you call the frontline people at the bank, right?
Yeah.
But what they found out is that ATMs took a long time to implement, and it took a long time for the user base to use them. But what happened is that the what do you call them again?
Bank tellers.
The bank tellers ended up just being customer service reps.
Yeah.
So their job just shifted.
The job description shifts.
But it did not make it to the fact where they still use fewer of them. Now, architects are a great example. There's still going to be architects, but there'll be a lot less of them. There'll be a lot less paralegals than there used to be. There'll be a lot less researchers in the medical field, because right now you can just use a large language model to do all your research.
Yeah.
There'll be less of them, but I believe those people will go to more productive jobs that won't have to do necessarily with a skill that is based off a degree.
Which, back to our supply and demand, because there's less of them, they probably get paid more because they can.
Well, it'll also be the best of the best.
Can afford it, right? So the best people will get the best jobs, and they will get paid the most, which is usually a net positive. for society.
In the long term, it'll be a net positive.
But there will be discomfort.
If I was a young
term.
man right now, I would be full brink into some sort of service business. I would never get a college degree in any sort of business management. Never. Or I would never get a degree in construction management or something like that.
I'm currently getting a degree in business management.
Yeah, which is fine, but you're not going to be a manager at a business.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's still certain societal expectations to keep up as well.
I agree with that, but that's part of being a man is you got to let go of those.
Yeah.
And find your own way. That's
true.
If you let go of these expectations, you can do whatever you want. And your peer group, you're just, you're going to have winners and losers anyways. You might as well be the winner on what you want to do.
Yeah.
And basing your actions off what your parents want you to do is another fallacy. I mean, if I were a young man today, I would wake up and shit my pants. Because knowing what I know now, things are competitive already. They're going to get drastically more competitive. Now, there's ways to get. My biggest thing is getting around the competition, doing things that are highly profitable that nobody wants to do, and those boil down to you pick a field. And I'll give $10,000 worth of advice right now. Go on Google and Google what you want to do and see how many people are on the Google call list. If there's more than 20, skip that profession. Go to the next one. Pick your second best. And you don't have to like what you do. I learned something a long time ago that made me change the way I think. I was talking to my uncle about doing something. He said, no one gives a shit about how you feel, about what you're doing. Liking your job comes from mastery. When you master it, you'll like it. And I was like, oh, okay. Because I hated what I was doing, but he's like, just be a master at it. And it was 100% true 5 years later. If I were a young man, I would be hyper focused on what nobody's competing in that has at least a high profit margin and a large customer base. That doesn't mean dog walking, right? Because the ticket price isn't high enough. You're not going to be able to get people to do it and make enough margin on them to make a large amount of money. Service trades or learn how to use AI and simplify a business down in using it, because it does not take rocket surgery to learn to use AI. It does most thinking for you.
Yeah.
And or do something that's so rudimentary that AI can't touch it, right? It could be anything. It could be learn to be the best gardener, learn to be, florist, or, another industry, sewing. I don't know if anybody knows this, but if you try to get your boat upholstered, it's a 2-year wait list.
Really?
It's a 2-year wait list to get a seamstress to redo your boat canvas because they can't find people who can sew.
That's interesting.
So, if you could import, let's say you can find 3 Taiwanese ladies that just imported from America that know how to sew, you could set up shop tomorrow and be doing $1 million a year in seamstress and be the only one doing it, and you would be crushing it. But it's like those jobs you need to seek out. The same way it was drop shipping, you had to go and research a product to go find that nobody was doing. You have to do that with an industry now. And it's not going to be based off the computer. And if it is, you may get lucky. Again, there's a lot of lucky people out there. And, some guy's going to be listening to this and be like, well, I get it. You're going to be the one out of 1 million. And that's great. I hope you are. But the reality is the rest of you are going to have to find a field that is not so competitive that hasn't been swamped yet, because it will eventually, because everybody's going to be funneled into stuff that does not involve computers because the computer side has been figured out and it's been subbed out. So figure out something that you can do. And a lot of that, it could be real estate. It could be some sort of tactile thing. It could be a product, right? It could be a manufacturing side. Those sort of things are, and manufacturing is about to boom. And if you can get in construction somehow with a construction, an industrial, in the industrial sector in a management degree, there's lots of money to be made there, but you're going to have to travel.
Yeah.
And in your early 20s, you're going to have to move around the United States on these construction jobs, but you'll be making $150 grand a year. A buddy of mine's a nuclear welder. He makes about $150,000 to $175,000 a year, but he spends 6 months a year in California. you know?
Which means he actually makes $50,000 a year.
Well, no, that's with paid travel.
Yeah, but after taxes, when they nuke you with taxes.
No,
in
he
California.
doesn't live in California. He lives here.
Oh, okay.
So he spends his time on the road going to nuclear facilities welding.
Yeah.
Right? Like being a special, but you have to be good at your job. You have to be really good. So, but that's where I think we're heading. Now, there's a lot of boomers dying that are going to leave untold fortunes of wealth to 40 and 50-year-olds right now.
Well, I think the most interesting new development in this is we're getting to a point where baby boomers are selling off their businesses. So they build up this great HVAC business and they're 65 and they're like, I want to retire. And they sell it to
private equity usually.
Yeah. Or if you're maybe it's a smaller HVAC business and you're a 25-year-old with a little bit of cash and you can
you don't even need
buy
cash.
the business or go get a business loan.
SBA loans, baby.
And buy this business that you already know works. Like, don't reinvent the wheel and trying to start your own business.
That's 100% a strategy.
Take a business from some boomer that already built it up, and you have clientele, you know it works, and then just buy the name and keep going with it.
I know a guy right now selling his plumbing company for $8 million. He's not even 60 years old. $8 million.
Yeah.
That dude probably doesn't even save for retirement.
There's no reason to.
There's no reason to. If you have a business, you don't need a retirement account. That business is your retirement account. So you're 100% correct on that. Like, find a business. You can buy businesses. I sold my painting company for $200,000. That dude who bought it just happened to be my brother's probably going to make $250,000 this year. Guess how much he owes on it? $0. You can buy your income versus creating an income. I prefer to create my income because I know how to do it.
Yeah.
But
the challenge is the capital to start that, to actually get into it. And what worries people is there's two ways to do it. You can either get the cash through over time, through work. It's like Monopoly. Or you can take out the loan, but then you worry about being over leveraged.
Yeah. And my suggestion would be to start something and then get field experience.
Yeah.
And then go buy a bigger company and just let your tiny little company go to the ground. You know, taking a step back to take 5 steps forward is hard, but it's I've learned this, like, you got to take steps back to take steps forward, but you have to have the capital buffer and the financial discipline to have enough money to take that step back.
Yeah. The scary part, though, is those bills don't stop coming. Like, you still got a mortgage payment. You still got the car payment, which is outrageous. You shouldn't have car payments.
If you do, pay them off quick.
Yeah. You shouldn't have these outrageous expenses that you can't afford anyway. But if you do, because most people do, like 90% of people do, those things are still coming. So it's hard to have, the mindset that, okay, I've got a family, I've got a wife, I've got kids, I'm going to take a step back and risk that income in the short term for a bigger gap in the long term, because it's risk, as with anything.
Yeah, it depends how much you have in your savings. Like, if people quit buying crap, they'd have plenty of money.
Yeah.
It's just, again, we boil down to choices. What are people making choices about? And what I see is, like, when I was 20-something years old, I was managing a cookout restaurant. I did not want to be there. I hated it. But I was being paid $40,000 a year, and I was able to save $5,000. $5,000 15 years ago, you could get by for 6 months, 5 months, 4 months. I lived on, $20, $30 a day. That's what I lived on. I lived by myself in a 1-bedroom apartment in Charleston. It was okay, but it allowed me to take those steps forward that most of my peers could not, because they blew every single bit of their money. So when you're young, that's your time to start building your buffer for your chances to, and look, you're only going to get 1 or 2 opportunities to jump your wealth per year. Whether that be an investment, whether that be a chance to do something, you may only get 1 every 2 years. You may only get 1 every 5 years, but they will come. But if you don't prepare yourself daily and monthly by setting money aside and being disciplined, then you'll never be able to jump on those opportunities.
Yeah.
The opportunities, I will say, are getting slimmer because there's a lot smarter people in the investment game. But to give you an example, a great way to get ahead is if you buy your first house young, By the time you're 27 years old, you're going to have a ton of equity. Don't be afraid to move. You don't pay taxes on capital gains. Up to $250,000 if you're single, $500,000 if you're married. Okay, you could take that money and use that buffer to go start a business, but you have to buy a house young, which you have to be disciplined. You can't go spend your money on booze and pizza on every Friday night. And if you do, you better have a large enough income to sustain that. So all these choices stack, right? And you got to get to a point to where you've stacked enough of the right choices to where one wrong decision does not wipe you out. And I see that a lot.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing, circling back to the housing crisis, is the alternative is housing prices go down, which
they are.
But is that what you want long term? No.
Yes.
Of course not.
No, it's a cycle.
But if I'm buying a house, right, ultimately if I'm already invested in the asset, I want it to go up over time, right? So you don't want forever for these housing prices to come down, because when you do eventually get invested into an asset, if that continues to cycle down, then there's no reason to have that asset, right?
No, that's a good point, but you're going to spend money on rent or a house one way or another.
Right. I'm saying it sucks right now because you're not invested in, well, not you, but I'm saying in general for guys my age that aren't yet invested in a housing asset, right? It sucks because the housing prices are expensive, but
compared to what? You keep saying they're expensive. Compared to what?
Compared to salaries. Like I said, we went over that. I don't have the data in front of me.
But your generation's been told that for 3 years, and it's just not true. It's not true. I can go find you a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house right now for $250,000. It's just not exactly where you want to live. Yeah. And you got to make a choice whether you want to have what you want or what you need. Now, your generation has been told they can have what they want when they get out of school. That is a new thing in history.
Yeah, that's never been the case.
Never.
Yeah.
Now, if you take what you can get, you can move anywhere you want. And you can afford what you need, but you're not going to get what you want. That's my grief with the sentiment that things are too expensive. It's like, no, it's not. You don't get what you want. You've got to earn that. Yeah. I don't have what I want yet. I got what I need, and it's nice, but it's not what I want. So, I may be 50 before I get it, and that's okay. So I just think dialing it back a little bit on the housing stuff and the job market. This ties into the job market too. You're not going to have the job you want out of school most likely, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Take a little time and save some money to where you can make that leap to where you get what you want. But the social thing is where I'm more disappointed in your generation of well, I'm not getting what I want. It's like, who told you could? You need to go talk to that person.
Yeah.
Because they lied to you. Your parents lied. They told you could have a good job if you go to college. They told you could afford a house if you do. It's like, no, that has never been the case. And they lied to you. They got that out of luck because the economy just so happened to line up that way. But that was luck. And they told you bad advice. What I tell my kids, and what I'm going to tell my kids, is you don't deserve a house. You don't deserve a house till you buy one. And you can't buy one until you earn it.
Yeah.
That's how that works.
Cyclical.
Yeah. And everything boils down to your choices. If you want to have your refrigerator stocked with the best groceries, guess what? You're probably not going to be able to afford a house.
Yeah, that's true.
It's that's how that works. And guess what? It works everywhere in the world that way. That's not an America problem. That's everywhere. So you've got to make choices. Do I live off of, salad and deli meat, or do I live off chicken breast and steaks? It's when you're young, if I'm a hunter, do I go buy the most expensive shotgun I buy, or do I go buy one in a flea market that,
is gonna get
does the job?
Yeah.
I see dudes running around in Sitka gear that they're walking around in $1,000 worth of camo, and they're bitching about housing prices. It's like, dude, what are you talking about? You're shooting the most expensive shotgun shells. You're wearing the most expensive camo, shooting the most expensive shotgun in a $40,000 boat, and you're complaining to me about housing prices. I don't understand. you know, to give them a little bit of grace, like my generation and the generation before me did that to them. We set it up. We set bad examples.
That's true.
We set bad examples, right? Like these new products, like there was no like good stuff on the market when I was a kid. Everything was basically the same, right? Even if a doctor was rich, he wasn't that much richer than you. He was like wealthier than you, maybe, but his house wasn't that much nicer.
Yeah.
His car wasn't that much nicer because the most expensive car you could probably buy at that time that he would be able to afford is maybe a brand new King Ranch F-150. Well, guess what? Everybody's got one. So like
the standards that everybody has
going away. And now he's driving a McLaren.
Yeah.
Like it's a 100x jump versus a 5x jump. That's what we're seeing now. And wealth is consolidated. So, and it's consolidated even more and more and more. And that's what I'm saying. Like, if you go to compete with these guys in this job market where everything is consolidated, you're going to get crushed. You might as well go to a place where those big players are not, and go try to focus on that and get good at it because there's not as many players in the game.
Yeah.
But it's a choice mentality. And I'm wondering if the next generation is going to be able to make those hard choices. I have hope, but I don't see a lot of good. I'm not sure. I think a lot of it's going to be nepotism. I do see a transfer of wealth from the baby boomers as they're dying. A lot of the 40-year-olds are getting money, and they're just going to create nepotism. Is basically when you have kids and you support them through their whole lives, and they think they're rich because you're rich. That's what I see happening more than anything. Is not that young people succeed as much, is that there's going to be even more inequality because the wealth is getting consolidated.
Yeah. I tend to have a lighter view of nepotism than most people, because most people are like, oh, you were born with a silver spoon in your mouth. You never worked for anything. The point of wealth is so that you can have different, like if you grew up poor, right? The guy that grows up poor and then is vastly wealthy and has kids. Why would you not give them better opportunities than you had?
That's not nepotism.
But I mean, if you turn around and give them a job in your business, technically, by definition, that's nepotism. And people look down on that. But to me, it's like, of course you would give your kids that opportunity. But the hard part is that person that's rich knows that the same values and struggle and adversity that they went through to get them where they're at is what got them to that point, but also the thing that morally they don't want their kids to have to suffer through.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's good for them.
I imagine it's going to be tough when my kids get to that age and like, Dad, I want a job. And it's like, well, I mean, my rule is they can't work for me till they're 30. Now I may change that.
I look at it as I will never try and give my kids, by the time they're like, obviously when they're 15 maybe and they want to go to the movies or what, I mean, fine, maybe I'll change on that, but different for guys and girls also. But I just think providing an opportunity, like, okay, yes, you can come work for me, but you're going to start at the bottom just like everybody else, and you're going to work up. Like, you'll always have a job here. Like, that's the safety net, is like, you will always have what you need and nothing more. Like, everything that you want, you have to work for, but everything that you need, that's what I spent my entire life trying to provide for you. Does that make sense? So, like, if I own a business, it's like, you will always have a job here, but if you leave, when you come back, you will always come, like, we will look at this from an outside perspective, and you will always re-enter the company at the spot where you should be. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think that comes down to structuring your business where you're not the master and controller.
Yeah.
Like, you should have management in between you and your children if you decide to do that.
Right.
And let the manager figure that out.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, take yourself out of the position of authority there.
Mm-hmm.
In a good business, there's levels of, if one of my sons wanted to come work for me, I would set him with the guy who's actually working.
Yeah.
Say, he's in charge of you. I'm not in charge of you. I'm in charge of that guy.
And if he fires you, are fired.
On you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
you did it.
Yeah. And that's what I would do. And I would do that for my kid.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be from the position of like, hey, you're going to come manage these jobs at 20 years old with these guys who've been with me forever.
Right.
And I'm going to pay you more than them.
Right.
No.
Or the handouts or whatever. I don't look at giving your kid an opportunity a handout. But I do think a certain level of wealth provides a safety net that I would love to give to my kids.
Well, look, the money's got to go somewhere.
Yeah.
You can't take it with you. So I'm unsure about this because I'm not dead yet. So, I'm not even close.
I mean, you don't know. It could be tomorrow.
But, I don't know.
Yeah.
Right now it's for my wife in case I die.
Which is how it should be. Yeah.
Right. So, like, if I die, my wife's fine. But I'm not even particularly that wealthy. I'm maybe in the rich category, but not wealthy. And a lot of people in your family and so on and so forth that are wealthy.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't see an increment of happiness from going from rich to wealthy.
Well, that's the good news for everybody that doesn't think they'll ever be rich or wealthy. There's a certain level, and studies show this, that money does buy happiness. It does, to a point. Like, once you get to a point where you're well taken care of and you need for nothing, rather, you have a roof over your head, you are comfortable, you're not worried about where your next meal is going to come from, you're not saddled down with outrageous amounts of debt, like you feel relatively comfortable in your financial position. That's about as much as happiness gets you. Sure, it'll buy you, if you can go buy a boat, like, yeah, you're going to be happier on that boat. But like over time, there's a certain level to where because the person that's on the street worried about where their next meal has come from is not as happy as the person
been there and it sucks.
Yeah, is not as happy as the person with a house that's secure and knows where their next meal is coming from. So anybody that tells you that money can't buy happiness, that's a lie. So it does
is a lie.
To a point. And then once you get there, I mean, what's a $1 million yacht versus an $8 million yacht? You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't really move the needle very much once you get to a point of stability. And
I'm at the stability part, so I can't speak on the wealth part.
Right.
I will tell you, I got buddies who are in the wealth category, and we hunt together and fish together. We catch the same fish and kill the same deer.
Right. You're both at the same level of content, like no matter how much excess you can buy.
If a guy shows up with a $5,000 rifle or a $300 rifle, the deer dies the same.
Yeah. It's just stuff.
Now I like hunting on their ranches.
Yeah.
I like hunting on their properties. I like going out on their big boats.
So that's different. You have to define your terms, because
they get
the more money
happiness,
you have, the more pleasure you can have.
No, they have more opportunities for experiences that make you happy.
Yeah.
So but you can do that on a budget too, right? Like, it doesn't have to be an expensive thing, but I will tell you, like, there's aesthetic things that make me happy, right? They can afford the guy to keep up with their house, that when they walk in, it's cleaner, it's less stressful.
As far as long-term contentment, as far as happiness goes, if we're saying like long-term throughout your life contentment, it won't move the needle if you're
and here's the other thing people don't tell you. Those guys who have that, most of the time, they're not ever content with where they are, because that's how that got them there.
Right. Exactly. So that same mentality is never going to allow them to be happy.
So it's a fleeting thought that you're going to get to this place and feel great. I don't think it exists. I haven't been there. I'm where I thought I'd be, but like the needle always moves, and I just don't think there's this like happiness zone that you get into, which is fine, by the way. Yeah. I'm totally cool with that. But for young people or people listening to this that are like, well, I got to make X amount of money and then I'll feel good. Then I can get this new side-by-side, or I can get this new truck. Bro, that stuff, it does not exist. I mean, I will tell you, like, I've had the nicest trucks and I've had some really nice toys. All of them create more headaches than they do nice stuff. And the truck I'm in now, which is an XL F-150, I am totally content with. It makes me happy because I know I'm not breaking anything that's expensive.
Yeah.
Like when I use it as an actual truck. So there's like things that, that you can get into. And also, like, when it comes to buying a house, like, if you think you're going to be more happy in a nicer home, I don't think so. I think that when you're young, if you buy like your starter home or whatever, you should be just as proud as that as if you went and spent a ton of money on a brand new home that you didn't have any work on, or like was a nicer house. So like the incremental things, I'm with you. I don't think they make you any happier.
Yeah.
So, but back to nepotism, the economy, like I think that wealth is going to get transferred in the next, it's probably 10 years. That's untold sums of money that we're going to have a lot of people who don't have to work as hard. So like the job field is going to be real weird. I don't know what's going to happen, but I do know it's going to be a duality society. Yeah. What that means, I'm not sure. I'm not that smart. What do you think is going to happen?
I don't have the education and the life experience to know, because I've only seen one cycle. I feel like you see a cycle every 10 or so years.
It's about 10 years, yeah.
So I've seen the one cycle of, and it hasn't gone anywhere good. 10 years ago, I think we were in a much better spot as a society in general, mentally. And so I think from a young person's perspective, I don't like the direction we're going. So I think society naturally resets itself, though. So I think we'll get to a point where we'll reset and we'll be in a better spot. So
I think so. And that's what I'm saying. Like I'm seeing a little bit of resurgence in young people.
Yeah.
And
it gets bad to a point where everybody realizes, okay, this is bad. And then they make the fix. So I agree. There's a resurgence of, I think young conservative values are returning. I think Christianity largely is returning. I think people are finding,
is definitely returning.
I think people are finding religion.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's becoming popular again, which is,
hey, great.
Yeah, great.
It's like Jelly Roll losing the weight. It's like, I don't care if he uses it for attention as long as people aren't getting fat.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't care what the message.
So it's a great thing. I think I'm optimistic about the future, and I'm very pessimistic about where we're at right now. So I think in the short term, we still have some bad years to come. I think there's going to be, like you said, I think there's probably a massive financial downturn. Again, that happens about last one was 2008. And then 2020, we had a little one. I think there was one in the 1990s. Was there one in the 90s?
I think we're going to skip this one, man. Part of me thinks we're going to skip it. I think Trump's smarter than we all think he is. And I think he's got something up his sleeve. What he just did in Venezuela, cutting off the Russian oil and Iranian oil, if that happens, dude, and he's successful at it, we may not get a recession because we're not going to be bogged down anymore with wars. The trade deficit has gone way down. His tariffs are actually working. Like, there's things happening that I'm still like, holy crap. Like, I was betting subconsciously against this man. And unless something crazy happens, which is good, he is like, he's going to go down as the greatest president of all time because of his economic policies, whether we like it or not. And
he's an asshole and a terrible person, like morally corrupt. That's fine, but he's doing a great job. Like, I would never want him to be the pastor of my church.
But neither, I don't think any president was like
a great person.
No,
because the issue with politics is the same people that end up in those positions are always the people that you don't want in those positions. Because the people that you want in those positions are the people that don't want power. And the people that want the power and the wealth and the attention are the people that run for those sort of things. And they have the wrong incentives at heart. And so those are naturally the people that are going to be there are going to be the people that you don't want in office anyway.
Well, I'm going to say this about Trump. I don't think he wanted to be president. I really don't. I think he is doing it for the love of country. I really honestly do. But
there's an ego aspect there.
No, but
I don't think he wanted to run again. I think he did the first time. I think the second time it was more of an obligation and a like.
No, I think
because people were coming after him. They sent the full weight of the FBI and the federal government and the Justice Department after him. He was kind of, I think it got to a point where he was like, fuck you. I'm going to come back and I'm going to fix this.
He is a Teflon Don, dude. I don't know who could have survived that. It is beyond comprehension. The stress level that he can handle is
he could have spent the rest of his life in prison. the rest of his life.
He could have just sailed off into the sunset with his billions and just went and lived life. Like, yeah. It boggles my mind. That's why every time he does something that's right, I'm just like, not only right, like I bet against him in my mind of like, oh, well, we're going to head to this, and this is going to happen. Then it doesn't happen. And it's because he's put policy and people in places that is changing the tide of America. And whether people want to give him that credit or not, that's irrelevant. But you can't say that we're not doing well as America and that things are trending in the right direction financially. I wish there was a housing market crash. It'd be great for me. But truthfully, I don't think he's going to allow it to happen. Yes, is he manipulating markets? Yes, but that's not how history is going to be written. Yeah. History is going to be written that he did a great job, whether we like it or not. And I see that happening, which is a good thing for America, by the way, because that'll instill confidence throughout all the markets in the world to keep doing trade with us. So people don't understand the ramifications of not being number one in the world. Guess what? If you get kidnapped in a different country and they find out you're American, let's say you go to Mexico, guess what? The cartels don't mess with Americans. Wonder why? They know we will kill them.
They did 4 years ago.
No, when they accidentally killed someone in America, you know what the cartel did? They dropped the murderers off at the border in handcuffs. And all of the cartels wrote apology letters to the United States. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, oh yeah.
When was that?
Okay, so like 4 years ago or 5 years ago, some tourists that were going to get BBLs down in Mexico, some black ladies, got kidnapped, and one of them got shot. Okay? We were going to go wreak havoc on the cartels. The cartels arrested the guys who did it, dropped them off to I believe, Border Patrol agents, and wrote a letter apologizing. That is what you get when America's number one. If America falls to number two, it's game over. Because no one's, like, we're not respected around the world. What Trump is doing is reinstituting a respect around the world for Americans and American policies. And the reason we're able to, I looked up the trade for Japan right now, the dollar to the, I forget what the name of the currency is. It's 1.5 to 1. So when you go over there, it's 1.5. For every dollar you spend, it's actually $1.5. Guess what? America falls out of first place in the world. It goes to almost zero. So there's benefits to being number one, and that's what Trump is doing. Now, he's breaking a lot of things in the process, but that's part of being number one.
Yeah.
It's the same way that Apple, Boeing,
broke the market.
They broke the market. They ran a lot of people out of business and broke a lot of things and pissed a lot of people off. But at the end of the day, history is not written by the losers. It's written by the winners.
Yeah.
And, society rewards those winners. I just think he's doing a great job in that category. Do I think he's a horrible person? No. Actually, I think he's probably a great dad. I think he's probably a great grandfather. I mean, I think he actually cares about children and families.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on everything you just said. I just think he's under such stress, and that man has made billions and billions and billions of dollars. Yeah. He's not your quintessential like Christian guy. Like he's not.
The other day he said he doesn't think he'd probably get into heaven.
Yeah, I just think did you see the tweet he sent out about Rob Reiner when he died?
No.
The same shit that we yelled at the left for when they killed Charlie Kirk. He did the same thing. He turned around. He was like, deplorable human being. It was just a horrific tweet. Like the day after he died, like hated Donald Trump, terrible person. It's like, okay, like not the time. Like Rob Reiner was murdered by his own son. He was stabbed to death along with his wife. So it's like, why make it about politics? Like you made it about you. It's not about you.
Yeah,
like
that
like that's the kind of stuff that makes it. That's why I said that's the part that I say like I don't think he's a good human in general. I honestly think he's a great dad and a great grandpa. He seems like it. I mean, I'm not there to know, but
we're also putting
he's a great politician.
We're putting today's expectations on a 78-year-old man.
Yeah,
that man grew up in a different era to where speech was different.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you can't expect your grandfather to act like a 25-year-old. I also think, like, we need to level our expectations for his age. There should be a handicap. You know, it's like my dad, you know, or whoever would never be as cordial as a 25-year-old. It's because, like, speech is different now.
Yeah.
And not to give him an excuse, there's bad decorum on his side. But at the end of the day, like, I think he's doing a great job. I couldn't do a better job.
Yeah.
I couldn't have done a better job. I had definitely done a better job than Biden, but I could not do a better job than Trump does.
I don't think there's anybody in the world that could have done better than Trump. I think he's the best candidate.
And he's the only one steering the ship correctly in a cultural way back to conservatism that I see.
Yeah.
Has he gotten divorced while he's been in office? No. Has he been caught in a cheating scandal? No. Has he been caught in a fraud scandal? No.
Yeah.
Like, and he's been right on 90% of the things he's come up with, which seem out there. They just found out he was right about Georgia. They hid 350,000 votes from him.
Yep.
And he was screaming from the Eiffel Tower about it. And they found out he's correct. There's a lot of things. He's like the Alex Jones of politics.
Yeah.
It's like he's way, way above his time on things. And that ruffles a lot of feathers. But when the dust settles, he's been right about 90% of stuff. And I would argue to people that, you know, if you don't like him, I get it. I mean, whatever. But I mean, could you do a better job? Could your dad, could your grandfather, does anybody you know do a better job? I mean,
I don't think so.
Is your house dirty? You know, then you probably couldn't run the White House. You know, it's like, get your own stuff in order. So,
all right. Last thing I want to do, because we're running high on time here, but we are surrounded by a lot of dead animals.
Yeah.
I want to go through, for especially young men, want to protect their home. We have a beautiful gun closet right here.
No, we don't.
No, we don't. I want to go through a few things, your idea of home defense, key essentials, and if you want to get into some hunting essentials, and then anything else you think is just cool in there.
Sure. So if
you want to pull it out and shit.
All your AR stuff is useless. All this, like, thank God the fad's almost over. ARs have plummeted in value because, like, ARs are cool, but carrying around the woods sucks. Home defense, terrible choice because a 223 rips right through people and it'll go into the next wall and, you know, hit your kid in the brain. Shotgun for home defense. Because most of you, including me, will be crapping your pants if you have to kill somebody. I will be shaking so violently, I will probably miss. Okay, and in the dark, a pistol is almost useless unless you have a red dot. And on top of the nervousness, if you're shaking, good luck hitting your target at 10 yards. Okay, shotgun with a cylinder choke, not a modified choke, a cylinder choke where that buckshot pattern goes this big. All right, those buckshot pellets are like a bunch of 9mm shells. Actually, your pattern would probably be like that big at 10 yards. You have 9 to 11 pellets in there. You want all of those to hit that guy. If one or two of them to hit, hopefully it doesn't go into the next room. But if it does, that's kind of the thing. As far as conceal carry, I mean, I shoot Glocks and I like Glocks just because they work. I just ordered a new performance center trigger in my new pistol, which I'll go grab right now. Hold on one second.
Pull out anything else is cool.
Well, I got a lot of guns. This is my new Glock 17. It's empty. There's no mag in it. With the Glock performance trigger, it's got a good clean break. Reset. Anyways, this is a 17L, which is long slide, which is made for precision shooting. But I have a Glock 2240 cal that I keep in my truck for hunting. I shoot pigs with it and I shoot deer with it. Any of these right here, do not buy a subcompact for defense or carrying around in your truck. Here's the reason why. They're harder to shoot. They're harder to get the aim right, and the distance on attacks are changing. If you have an active shooter somewhere, you're not going to hit them with a subcompact unless you're a very, very, very good shot past 20 yards. And even if you miss by a little bit, if they're in a crowded area, which most likely they will be, that bullet is going to go sailing and hit someone else. So buy a long slide with a longer sight radius that you're more accurate with, and shoot it a lot if you can. Hunting rifles. So there's 3 guns I suggest everybody have. That shotgun for home defense should also be your hunting shotgun. It should be a 12 gauge pump. If you're not proficient, you should load it with 3 rounds of buckshot. Rifle. If I were to own one rifle, it would be a Ruger American 300 Blackout. And here's the reason why. 300 Blackout has the same range as a 30-30. It's almost no recoil. It kills a lot of stuff, and you can rub subsonic ammo, and it's cheap ammo. You can put a suppressor on it, and it sounds like a pellet gun. So if you're in a neighborhood with a lot of deer or a lot of pigs or a lot of something like that, you can put a suppressor on it and knock deer in the head, and nobody hears you. It's as quiet as basically a pellet rifle. My wife shoots a 300 Blackout. You shot your first deer this year with a 300 Blackout. You shot him in the head. And highly, highly, highly recommend. I would not go with a big caliber. The second rifle I own is a 308, and that is if you're hunting longer distances. 308's a great round. But those are the 3 guns that I would have. We got plenty of hunters out there that have their choices and stuff, but this is like a roundabout.
Yeah.
If you're just getting into guns, and for wives, revolvers if they don't shoot a lot with no hammer. You got to buy a hammerless J-frame Smith & Wesson 38 special or a 22 mag that goes boom. They don't have to cock it. They don't have to clean it. They got to put ammo in it and just pull the trigger. That's what I would do. And get into hunting, man. Right now the public lands are full of people, and this past deer season was more people than I've ever seen hunting ever, which I like to see. It's getting very competitive out there, but there's still a lot of land to roam, and this country is huge. You can buy tags for out of state. It's something fun to do with your buddies. And 1 deer per year will feed a lot of people because they don't eat as much venison as we do. And highly encourage it. Tags are relatively cheap. Probably 150. What'd you spend? Like $150? No,
I didn't buy it yet.
Oh, you did.
Yeah, I did.
But you buy your tags and it's like $150. You can go kill a deer. If you don't want to clean them, you can take them to a processor. Cost you $100 and you get 50 pounds of meat back. You're spending $2 a pound. It's not bad, right? And it's good, healthy protein that you can, and it's a good thing. And then fish, man. Like we eat a lot of fish here at the house. So I recommend everybody buy a kayak or a boat. 90% of the world's water, bro. So there's a lot of
that's true.
There's a lot of land you haven't. So there's a lot of things you haven't seen unless you've been on the water. So and it ain't for everybody. And don't feel like you're excluded because you don't wear hunting clothes or look like a redneck. Like if you're some black dude that's listening to this that goes to, somewhere else and you're intertwined with the black community, it's just not part of your thing. Black communities aren't known for hunting and fishing. I'm just speaking realistically, right? Don't feel like you're an outsider. We love you. We want you. Like, come join us. Like, it's not an exclusive thing. If you're some preppy kid that wears a popped collar polo and you're used to like playing around on tennis courts, come join us. It's like, come on. We love it. We love when new people show up. You're going to get made fun of, but that's okay. It's part of like camaraderie and stuff like that. Grab one of your best friends, go buy a tag for South Carolina or go buy your fishing license and go out and catch some bass, catch some crappie, take them home, eat them. And, it's good for you. And it's a fun sport. It's something you can do during the winter. It's something you can do during the spring, something you can do during summer. And again, 90% of the world's water. So unless you've seen, a lot of the country by water, you haven't seen a lot of it. So there's a lot of fun stuff to do out there. But this dead stuff around us is kind of like what I'm passionate about and what I love besides, investing. But you have a pistol. Mm-hmm. You have a Taurus G2 9mm. You like it, right?
Yeah, I do. I hadn't cleaned it in a while, so it was getting pretty stiff there for a while, but it's moving much better now that we lubricated it and everything. But it's nice to carry.
What has a gun done for you mentally?
Mainly confidence, especially. I just feel naked without it now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh, yeah.
if I have, I have a fiance now, but was my girlfriend for, I don't know, just taking her places. Like, we just went on a road trip up to Indiana and back, and obviously you got to stop at gas stations. But you don't always have the choice, especially when you're coming down, especially in like the mountains. You get through like Tennessee and stuff like that. You kind of get to these remote gas stations where you have to stop somewhere in there. And then again, you got to use the bathroom. So you got to go in places. You try not to stop at a gas station. You try to stop at a Starbucks or whatever, but sometimes you don't have an option. And so it just gives me the peace of mind that like, I know I can keep her safe.
Yeah.
If I need to, when we're going into potentially dangerous places, because you don't know what's going to happen at, one of these gas stations in the middle of nowhere, who's going to be crazy and, whatever. So that's just the main thing for me, is like the extra peace of mind.
And you don't come from a gun family at all.
No, we don't. So,
yeah.
I mean, they're not against it in any way.
But you don't come from a background of handling firearms.
No. So that it's been a learning curve, but I'm happy to be somewhat proficient now in handling them.
And it's addictive.
I think it's important. Yeah.
And
it's important, and it's very addictive because they're fun.
They're a lot of fun.
That's the biggest thing, is like they are a lot of fun to shoot them, to practice with them. They're a lot of fun. So,
and it gets less intimidating
as you use
immediately.
Them. Yeah. Because I don't know, with all the violence that there is in our country, there's kind of this like, if you aren't around them constantly and you're not constantly handling them, there is this like fear, like this innate fear of just being around it, that it can cause. I don't have the words for it, if that makes sense, but I don't know. It's just being around it. I never feared them in the first place. So, but it's like, I'm just more comfortable with it. I don't know how to say it other than that.
It was taboo. It's almost like a taboo.
Right.
It's like going to a sex show for the first time.
Yeah.
If you
but
wanted
also,
to go
like,
do that.
when you first start concealed carrying, like, obviously you have the fear of like,
am I going to drop it? Am I going to
drop it, or am I going to shoot myself in the dick? Like, I don't want to do that, but it's like with anything, once you get more comfortable with it and you start carrying it more, you realize it's not going to go off accidentally. There's too many. Mine has a safety and the
trigger safety.
Yeah, the trigger safety as well. So, I mean, there's multiple layers of protection. It's not going to go off accidentally. If you're really, really, really nervous about it, you can carry one not chambered.
Which is then a useless. It's just a club.
Then you're, because you're probably not going to have time.
And if anybody's out there and they feel, nervous about guns, or if this is a lady out there listening.
But when you first start carrying, I actually don't begrudge people. Like,
I don't think you should carry a pistol until you've been around it 6 months to a year.
Yeah, that's probably
like, until
fair.
you've handled that gun for 6 months to a year, you have no business putting it in your waistband.
Yeah, that's
a fair
statement.
Yeah, I mean, I will tell you, if I got into a fight with a guy that had never carried a gun before, I could take that gun from him, no problem. Now, he may shoot me, there's that possibility, but the chance of him not, and again, I'm an experienced firearms guy. I would be crapping myself if I had to shoot someone.
Yeah.
So,
I think everybody would be, with the exception of
maybe someone who trained
military,
or law enforcement,
even
law enforcement, but even those guys get nervous. Like,
and
they train for it all day, every day. I mean, there's the elite guys who probably don't get nervous. But I mean, like, if you're a young lady, I would encourage you to go, ask your boyfriend or ask your dad if they'll buy you a gun, and then just keep it at their house. And every time you go home, shoot it a little bit, and like, just get comfortable with it. And if
let it be a fun thing at first.
Yeah, fun, dude.
Let it be. Don't put the onus of protection on it. Like to start. Like, start with, this is a fun thing. I'm hitting targets with it, doing whatever. And then once you're proficient with it at that level where mentally it's become a fun thing that you can handle well, then start carrying it.
Yeah.
I think that's a good strategy to use.
And I don't conceal carry. I just put that out there. Not often. I always have a gun around me, but I mean, I'm proficient enough at fighting that if someone has a gun, I'm dead.
Yeah.
But if they had a gun, if I had a gun, I don't know if I would pull it first.
Yeah.
There's things I would do before I would pull it.
Well, it's the same argument as the Minnesota cop, the
Right,
ICE
like-
agent or whatever. Like that was not the place. Like, and I forget who said it, but I heard the other day, which was a great point, is if you had the time to pull out the gun and shoot her in the face, you had the time to pull out the gun and shoot the tires or make a different decision.
Well, that's nonsense.
Or I mean, whatever.
Or get out of the, or just take your
get out of the
bump
way.
and move.
But
it ain't
it's-
worth a human life.
It's the same. It's the same thing with concealed carry. Though, is like you have to know. It's just as important as being proficient with it is knowing when to pull it out and when not to.
Yeah, and
And because the instance is very rare that you actually
it may be
need
once
to
in your
use
life
it.
or never.
Right.
And I am never. I'm not around people that much.
Yeah.
And my wife concealed carries. So if we get into a situation, I'm just grabbing her gun.
Yeah.
And you know, and if I can't, if they're that close anyways, I'm just going to grab you, you know, and we're going to fight it out. And you may get off a shot, but I mean, it's one of those things like, I don't like even talking about guns in that manner because that is such a rare circumstance.
Yeah.
I almost got into a fight on the lake.
When was this?
Like a month and a half ago, right? Some dude was just being a jerk. I called him out, and then I was like, you know, he more or less said, "You want to go fight it out on the bank?" I was like, "Sure, let's go do it." And he then backtracked a lot.
Yeah.
Not that I'm a tough guy, but it's like I'm willing to do that sort of stuff, you know, without a pistol, without a gun, without a knife. I don't have to shoot someone.
Which is generally how it should be.
Which is, yeah, it's
Like
like
more guys should get their ass beat. It's,
Yeah. And I'd be okay if he kicked my ass.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, cool. Like, I'm not going to cry about it. You probably don't feel that good either. You know,
you're definitely not.
But you ain't going to do it
feeling great.
again.
Right.
Because we're going to fight again. You know, like, and that's okay. So, guns are a last resource, which is why I don't carry, because I'm not around crowds. I don't go to crowded places and like put myself in those scenarios.
Well, the issue is with it, when you are in crowded places like that, you're not allowed to carry them anyway.
No, and guess what?
So-
Not all your shots. I think 1 out of 5 shots hit statistically on self-defense scenarios. If you're in a crowded area, you're shooting 5 other people or 4 other people.
Right.
So it's not.
You're not helping the problem.
No.
Yeah.
Like this arrogant. I hate the concealed carry culture. I absolutely hate it. It's like I'm pro carry,
Yeah.
but 90% of the people who conceal carry have no business conceal carry. I saw a dude with open carrying in a big air with kids around trying to be a tough guy. And I said, "Hey buddy, what are you doing?" He's like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "I can take that from you." He's like, "No, you can't." I was like, "Yeah, I can." And he's like, "Shut up, man. I can do what I want." I was like, "Yeah, you can. That doesn't mean you have to." But it's like this like bravado of like, I got a gun. It's like, okay, all I gotta do is sneak up behind you and grab it.
Yeah.
It's out on your hip. You don't even have a lock holster on it.
Yeah. If somebody is carrying, you shouldn't know.
Yeah. Or I mean, like, if you're out in like the grocery store, I don't want to see a gun on your hip, man.
Yeah.
Like it's not that I have a problem with it. And look, somebody's going to be like, "Oh, who's this guy think he is telling?" I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying that you look like an idiot.
Yeah.
From a guy who lives around firearms, you're an idiot. Because some dude with bad intentions can do, while you're staring at cereal, is going to go take that from. And by the way, if I want to shoot up the place, who do you think I'm shooting first?
The guy with the gun.
The guy with the gun on his hip.
You're making yourself a target.
Yeah, I mean, and if I do conceal carry, you ain't gonna know it,
Right.
and I ain't gonna walk around like a tough guy, you know. But
there should also be, I think the idea that you should bring it everywhere is also
it's kind of stupid.
Because it's like, if I'm going into the Ingalls in Powdersville.
Right. What are you gonna do? Break up a soccer mom fight?
Like,
Yeah.
okay. But if I'm going on a road trip where I know I'm going to be going into gas stations that I've never been in before with my girlfriend, with my now fiance, and we have to go in to use the gas station bathroom.
In the middle of Atlanta, I'm carrying a gun.
Like in the middle of rural Tennessee.
Rural Tennessee, I'm fine. Those are my people.
Yeah, but there's sketchy stuff up there.
Yeah, but I mean, those people aren't killing in their neighborhood.
Right. But I'm off the interstate. Like, there's just crazy people,
for
and
sure.
it's somewhere I've never been. So it's like I'm going to these somewhat sketchy places I've never been to, and I have to bring a woman that I care about,
of course,
in with me. That's a situation where I feel like I want to have something on me.
Yeah.
But if I'm going into my local Ingalls, no, I don't think I need it.
No, and I think it's just a fad thing, and people have been sold this bill of goods so they can sell more products. You know, I just think it's been overblown. Same with the AR-15 thing. Like, everybody had an AR-15 5 years ago, and they were kidding them out and trying to look like SWAT guys, and it's like, bro, you can barely walk to the mailbox.
Yeah.
Without being out of breath. Like,
you're not using that for anything.
No, and by the way, you can't shoot worth a damn.
Yeah.
Like, you can't hit a target 100 yards. And if you can, your grouping's like 12 inches. Like,
yeah,
my grouping's that big. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't carry one because I know in real world purposes, if we get in, the only practical application for an AR-15 is a large scale revolt. But guess what? You're running out of ammo.
Yeah, before
you can only
it's
carry
necessary.
like a couple hundred rounds on you before your backpack weighs 60 pounds.
You're actually way more, I would say, bolt action.
No, you need to be carrying a 10-22. A 22 caliber. That way you can carry 5,000 rounds on you.
Yeah.
And you can survive a lot longer. By the way, I can still knock you in the head at 100 yards with it.
Yeah. And kill somebody.
Kill somebody.
Yeah.
But you got to kill him. A dude gets shot, he ain't coming anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you can carry a sidearm with a few mags if he gets too close. But like this, like bravado around guns. Anyway, I'm going to bring it back down a little bit. Like, guns are fun. They're fun toys. This little thing is so much fun. I've already shot 300 rounds through it in 3 days. And I'm probably going to shoot I bought 1,000 rounds with it. And I found ammo on sale, and I'll probably shoot 1,000 rounds before the month's over, just to get to a field to where I'm very proficient with it, and I know exactly where the bullet's going to go. And I'm going to put a red dot on this one. I've never owned a red dot on a pistol before. This one's MOS ready. So I really encourage everybody to get into it. It's not for everybody. I don't think everybody should carry a gun, but put one in your car. You know, nothing wrong with that. I carry one in my car everywhere I go.
Have it and not need it.
Yeah.
Ideally.
You know, if you see something happening, you see a dude beating his wife to death on the side of the road, you can pull your gun out of your car and just tell the dude to stop, you know, and point it at him. He'll stop. You ain't got to shoot him. You got to be a hero.
Yeah.
There's a lot of practical applications like that come with that.
It's a great deterrent. Also.
Very much. And it's you know, if you're a lady and some big dude walks up to you and he's like drunk and whatever, you put a revolver in his face from a safe distance to where he can't grab it, he's not coming any further. And if he does, put one in his eye. You know, it's like there's very practical applications for that. My daughter shoots, my son shoots, my wife shoots, and it's a great community to get into besides the douchebags that are the AR, you know, the tactical suburban.
Yeah.
The guy driving the Toyota Tacoma that's all kitted out and thinks he's a redneck because he lives in the suburbs. It's like, no, those dudes are annoying, but the rest, there's a lot of great gun owners out there that just love firearms and love the art of them. So that's my message about that.
Love it. All right. I think we're getting up towards 2 hours. So
thanks for having me.
Let's wrap this up. Thanks so much for coming on again. This is your second time on, so we'll do a third sometime.
Absolutely.
So, all right. Later, everybody.